We're very excited to have a very special speaker with us today. His name is Daniel Castro, straight from Miami, Florida, but he's going to tell us a little bit of where he's originally from, a little bit about his background, and the great special topic that he has for you all today. I'm going to pass it on to him because I know he's got a lot of great learnings, and we're excited to have you here. Welcome so much, Daniel.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Regina. Thank you, Ali, for having me today and be able to share some of the knowledge that I have acquired during the years. And thank you, everyone, for being here. It is a pleasure to share this time with every one of you. And I recognize you for taking the time to be here. Well, let me share the screen and so I can start the presentation. Let me know when you see it. Okay, perfect. All right. Well, today's topic is purpose-driven success, rewiring your mind for a meaningful career. And this is one of the most important topics for me. I'm really passionate about it, and I really appreciate the opportunity for me to be sharing this with every one of you. But first of all, before we continue, I want to make sure that you are in the right place and you're going to benefit from the things that I'm going to share today. So this session is for you if you're in a career transition or between jobs and want more clarity before your next move. You achieve external success, but feel like some things is still missing inside. You're evaluating what success means after burnout, a layoff, or major life change. You know you have more to give, but aren't sure how to channel it. You feel called towards something more meaningful, but can't quite define it. Or you're ready to align your work with who you truly are, not just what you can do. And funny enough, these were the symptoms or what I was looking for about 6 years ago or 7 years ago when I started my journey. I want to give you a little background of who I am and how did I end up from the picture in the left, being an executive or being in a corporate environment, to the picture in the right, traveling to India and focusing on my spiritual awakening and my spiritual development. I was born in Colombia and originally and moved to the United States at the age of 19 in the year 2000. And like many immigrants in the world, I left my family, friends, and my life down there to look for something better, to look for more opportunities and an opportunity to become someone. The first 5 years when I moved here, they were very challenging. You know, adapting to a new culture, new language, and not having a fatherly figure since I left my family all in Colombia. But fortunately enough, after a few years, I was able to go to college. I ended up going to the University of Colorado, Denver, and got a double major degree in accounting and finance. I worked really hard, got good grades, and got hired by one of the biggest accounting firms in the world, Ernst and Young. While I was there in Colorado, I wanted to always move to Florida. I requested a transfer from Denver to Miami. And in the meantime, I was also getting promoted in my company and getting raises and different milestones in my job. After a few years in Ernst and Young and being in Miami, I started feeling that what I was doing was not enough, that there was a disconnection between what I was doing and what I was actually feeling. I felt empty in the inside. You know, outside of me, everything looked like it looked good on paper. It looked like I was being successful in society thinks what success means. But in the inside, I was feeling like something was missing. I was comparing myself with my boss. I was comparing myself with other people and not really appreciating all the job and all the things that I went through. And I ended up switching jobs and getting fired from that job. I was looking for more money, for a better title, but when I had it, it was not enough. I was still feeling empty, and I ended up getting not just getting fired from that job, but then when I switched again, I got fired from another job. So basically, I got fired from two jobs within 3 months. And that's when something clicked in. I noticed that perhaps I was doing something wrong because things were not working out. One day I was reading a book, and then in that book said something super important. And he said that we must assume responsibility for our lives. And that changed my perspective completely. I decided to work on myself, decided to take responsibility for my health, for my mindset, to stop blaming other people for the things that were going wrong in my life. And I committed to personal development. I decided to get a coach and even got certified in life coaching and getting more knowledge about myself. Eventually, I wanted to go further and ended up beginning a journey in a spiritual journey. There was something else that was still inside of me that I couldn't get out, and uh, and I really wanted to find something that was meaning. Therefore, when I started that journey, I ended up finding my purpose. I went from being in a company working with numbers to focus and to help people accomplish their dreams, to help people heal their emotional wounds, and really show them how they could live a life with more meaning. And that's what I do now. I'm still between the two worlds, but finally I realized that one of the keys in my life is to merge these two worlds, and help people live in the material, but also in the spiritual world, and have that balance between the two. So let me ask you something. What does success means to you? And just write it in the chat. What is the first word that comes to your mind? What is that thing you grew up with thinking that success is? You can reflect on your own definition of success and just write it down. What are those words or that meaning that you give to success? Because that's going to help us go from what we think success is to what I want to propose the new meaning for success is. And let me open the chat. Okay. Inita says work and life balance. That's great. That's actually how success is looked up now for some people. Feeling at peace in all aspects of my life, Susana said. Feeling at peace. That's great. You see, I noticed that many people that have done their personal development work or that have been connected with themselves have a different definition than what success means for most people outside in the world. Sandy says, having a balance emotionally, physically, and spiritual. That's amazing. So, what happened is that something that I have found out with people that I work with and people that I met is that most people think that success looks like this: money, power, status, influence, hustle, high achievements, performance. Because that what happened is that we grew up with the mindset that success was about results. It was about things that we needed to achieve, things that were outside of us. And I was one of those people. When I was a kid, I would be looking at what my parents were doing and what my parents' friends were doing. I went to college, I went to school, and I was competing for the best grades. I always wanted to be the best and always focused on having the best grades or having scholarships in school. And I grew up with this mindset of competition, this mindset of being good at everything that I was doing. And that's what I think is happening in society right now, is that many people are focusing in a results driven success, which is an old paradigm of success. And what happens is that when you are a results driven person, only results, you're only focusing on those titles or the income or the recognition. You're seeking happiness in things that are outside of yourself and things that you cannot control. You're you're basing your happiness in the position that you have at your job or the income that you are getting, just like what happened to me at that job in Ernst and Young. And what happens is that that target is always moving, because success is not about achieving that goal. It's about the journey or the destination that you and the things that you learn along the way. Most people look for happiness. Most people want to be happy. They want to have a good life. They want to have a good family. They want to have a home and travel, and all of the things they do is because they want to find that happiness. But most of the time, they wait until they get that thing in order to be happy. And if they don't get it, they start feeling different emotions such as anxiety. They start feeling frustrated because they are not obtaining that goal right away. There is nothing wrong with having goals in our lives. There is nothing wrong with setting up that thing that we want, being a goal oriented person. But the problem is that we are attached to it. And sometimes our expectations are lower than our reality. And most people start feeling very unhappy and frustrated because they haven't acquired that thing. They feel disappointment, or even in the pursuit of achieving all of these things, they ended up burnt out. Just like the slide said, burnout masked as productivity. And all of these things are becoming a mental health crisis, not only in the United States, but in the world. According to a Harvard review, it says that 3 out of 4 people are experiencing chronic stress. And what happened is that all of this stress and all of these emotions that people are feeling, negative emotions that people are feeling, and they don't know how to lead with them, are also getting them sick in the body. So I want to introduce you to something that is my passion, which is purpose. Because I believe that when you can find purpose and when you do things with purpose, your life changes 100%. So let me ask you, what does purpose means to you? Write it in the chat. What do you think purpose is? Think about that thing that drives you, or that has more meaning to you. And I'll read the comments in the meantime. Helping others. Thank you, Regina. Anybody else have an idea? Susana, my gift to the world. Yes, I like that. Patricia agrees with Susana. So here are a few words that most people relate to purpose. Diana says, see my loved ones to be happy and flourish. That's amazing. You know, when we talk about purpose, it's about intention, growth, alignment, peace, love, happiness, passion, authenticity, trust, wisdom. And many of these words are inner emotions. They always come from the inside. They're not related to something that happened outside of us. It's something that we can create right away. It's a connection that we have with something within. And that is the difference between the results driven success with the purpose driven success. One is more focused in the outside, which, as you might know, we cannot control everything that happens outside of us. We cannot control how someone is going to react to a conversation that we have with them. We cannot control when are we going to get that thing that we want, but we can control how we feel about it, how we react to that external event that happened in our life. And when we have that purpose, when we have that thing inside of us that guide us, then we're going to start feeling things like fulfillment. It doesn't depend on external validation. A sense of peace, even when things are uncertain. Because when you know where you're going, but specifically why you're going there, when there are things, when there is uncertainty, when there are things that are not the way you want it or something unexpected happen, you know that you're in the right direction. You know that that thing that happened in your life is because it's teaching you or preparing you for to get to that final destination, which is your purpose. You obtain sustainable happiness, not the kind that fades after a win. And that's one thing that happens when you are results driven success, is that you achieve the goal, you feel happy for a few days, and think about this. How many times you acquire something or you achieve that goal, but then you feel happy right away, or maybe for a few days, but then that happiness fades away. And now you have to create another goal in order to be happy, in order to feel that sensation again. But when you have purpose, you're not looking for that kick, for that emotion right away. You could sustain that emotion for a longer time. And the one that I like, that I really enjoy the most and is very beneficial to me, is energy and motivation, because without energy, we cannot do anything in our lives. There are many times that we don't feel like doing the things that we're supposed to do every day. But when you have that purpose, when you have that why, when you can see that what you do is going to make your loved ones be happy and flourish, when you see that you're going to help your family and friends with what the things that you're doing, then that energy just kicks in, because it's inner, is within you, that motivates you. Now, my personal definition is purpose driven success is building a life and career where you use what you love and what you're good at to be of service to others. What's yours? What is yours? And I ask you what is yours, because I feel that, or I believe that every one of us should have our own definition to success. It doesn't have to be what our parents told us, what society told us, what we see on social media that our happiness should be or our purpose should be. We are distracted all the time, always looking outside of us, that we don't have that time to really define what our why is, and why are we here, and what is our meaning in this life. So I invite you to think about the things that we have talked about in the last few minutes, and connect or create your own definition for purpose, something that really motivates you, something that really connects with you. And if you want, you can share it in the chat as well, or just keep it for yourself. But that's the invitation for right now. Now, let's do a quick exercise. Let's reflect about purpose and alignment, and answer at least one of the following questions. If you want, you can write them down, all of them down, and answer them all later, or just answer one right now in a few minutes. What does success feel like for me right now? Like, be honest with you, and I know what success you want it to look like, or what your definition of purpose of success is, but be honest with yourself. And right now, is it fulfilling or is it just busy? And that's going to give you an honest opinion of an honest look of how you're living your life right now in terms of success. Think about what kind of impact do I actually want to give through my work. When was the last time I felt genuinely fulfilled? What was I doing? This question helps you to start thinking about what your passion is, what you really want to give back to the world. Because based on the answers that we got in the chat, many of you were thinking about helping others, helping the family, or helping other people, or being of service. So how can you do that? Inita, it's completely honest with her, and she's saying, right now I am just busy, not fulfilled. So that's a great way of to begin with, because when you're honest with yourself, and when you are aware of how you're living your life, then you can start making the appropriate changes in your life. And I'm gonna show you how you can start doing that in a little bit. Think about what strengths or passions am I not using fully right now? What strengths or passions am I not using fully right now? And this question, when I was looking at these questions, um, preparing the presentation, I noticed that I'm not using all my passions and all my strengths. And there are things that I'm still working on them, but that I that I must begin to use them all in order to be of service. We always have room for improvement. So that's everyone is in. We are all in this journey, and the more honest that we are with ourselves, the better. Does anybody else wants to change? Diana says, I am busy and not fulfilled. Busy landing my next career opportunity. Yes. So hopefully some of the things that I'm sharing today is going to help you have a little bit more clarity on that next career opportunity. Maybe help you choose um, the best opportunity that there is out there. Now, why most people struggle to find purpose? If purpose is such a beneficial thing for everyone, why people struggle finding it? And as you probably experience in your life, or maybe interacting with other people, when you ask someone what your purpose is, they don't know. They're like, I don't know what it is. And the number one thing that I have here with me is because they look in the wrong place. They're looking in the wrong place. That's why they can't find it. Many people, the other day I heard this analogy that many people are looking for love or for purpose, like when someone has their glasses, is looking for their glasses, and they have them in their forehead. They have them on. Or when someone is looking for their phone, but they're using their phone light to look for the phone. They already have it there. They're looking outside of us, outside of themselves. So most people are looking for purpose, or for their why, or for the things that they should be doing or must be doing in their life, based on external influences, their parents, social media, comparing themselves with other people, with their coworkers. Something that I have seen, or that has happened to me in the past, is that I will see someone on social media, and then I will see the amazing life they're having, and they will be being traveling the world, because I love traveling, or being on a yacht, or having spending time in an exotic island or whatever. And then I get influenced by those results. I get influenced by wanting to have those things that they have. But maybe that's not what I want. I just, and then I remember that I was basing my decisions because I wanted those things in the past. So the thing is that I wanted to get those things because I was looking for validation. I was looking for to look good in front of other people. I was looking to be accepted by others, but I was not really looking within and being honest with myself. So think about this. Where are you looking for success? Are you looking for that? I mean, where are you looking for purpose? Are you looking for it outside of yourself, or you're taking the time to go within? Most people don't know who they are. That is another one. And the thing is that this is based on identity. Most people, or we were taught that in order to have that success, it was based on the things that we are doing or the things that we're having. So basically, if we have a big house, or if we're doing a wonderful job or having good title in the corporate world, then we'll be successful. And we identified ourselves with those things. We identify ourselves with what we do or what we have. And if you think about it, when you meet someone and you ask someone, tell me about yourself or who you are, people are going to say, I am the CEO of X and Y company, or I am a singer, or I am a painter, or I am the president of whatever company. People base their identity in what they do or what they have rather than in who they are, rather in being. And I'll explain a little bit more about this later on. But when they don't know, when people don't know or they don't explore their values, values are basically what is important to you. Like if I ask you in your relationship, what are your values? Most people cannot answer that question. They start thinking about them, but they maybe they will think, they will say what they think their values are, but when you look at the way they have their relationship, they're doing the opposite. So their values are not aligned with what the reality is. And the same thing happens in career. What are your values? What is important to you in a career or in a job? And Dia- Diana, she's planning her next or landing her next career opportunity. If she is Diana, if you start writing what your values are, what are the things that are important to you by when you find this job, then that search is going to either be easier in terms of making that decision, or you're going to be attracting that job to your life. You're going to start meeting the people that is going to connect you to that job, or you're going to start seeing that post online, or a recruiter is going to call you because you're being clear on what your values and what the things that are important to you are. Most people don't know their strengths, their passion, or one of the most important things, their why. Their why is their inner compass. Your why, like why do you do what you do? And ask that question too, like why do you do what you do? Why do you work in the place that you work? Why did you choose that career? Why did you choose that relationship? Why? When you start understanding the why, like what are the lessons or what is that thing bringing you, then you're going to become more clear. The next one is they're stuck in survival or a hustle mode. This is a big one and it's happening everywhere. When when we are in survival mode, basically we're trying, we're hustling, we're trying to make things happen, and we're moving all the time. We don't stop. We start, we don't give room to create. We don't give the room to think about the things that are really important in our lives. We're in constant stress. And when we are in stress, our immune system or our nervous system gets activated, and it feels that it's either is in danger, and the only thing that it wants is to survive. And it doesn't open that opportunity to create a better life, because you need to be calm to create. You need to be in peace. You need to be quiet. You need to be in a state of mind where there are not too many thoughts and too many things happening in your life, so you can get the messages from within. And that is one of the things that I'm going to be talking about, is how you can come back to that creative mode, how you can get out of that survival mode and stop feeling stress of overthinking or having that emotional pressure to do things.
Daniel,
Yes.
Sandy has a great story on the chat. You want to take a look at that?
Yes. Thank you. Sandy says, I feel my purpose is fulfilled when I am educating new nurses and ensuring they understand that we are not a disposable society, that patients are more than a task. My challenge is that it's only one small part of my life. Finding time to stop and find my whole purpose and enjoy life eludes me often.
Yeah. Sandy, do you want to share a little bit more about your story? Sandy?
Is Sandy, is that okay with you to share a little bit more? Or?
So I teach nursing students. So like I said, it's definitely something over the years of being a nurse that I've noticed that they become very task oriented. So helping to remind them there's humanity and humans behind those lines and tubes is a
Mm-hmm.
big task. So but that, like I said, it's just a small part. That's one fulfillment piece, but there's so much more to life. Obviously caring and giving is a huge piece of my, who I am, but I do strive to feel that there are more things that we can be. So I strive to achieve those things. So
Yeah, thank you, Sandy, for sharing that. And I mean that is a huge thing, that you're recognizing something. You're recognizing what your talent is, and you're recognizing a problem that you see in the world, a problem that you see out there, and you're using your skills in order to help. I mean, there are so many things in the world that we can definitely help with, but there isn't a specific thing that give us more joy than the other ones. And I'm going to talk about this later on, about leadership and how the best way to help others is by leading ourselves, by showing the way, by being able to control our emotions, by valuing those things, but not being letting the external world affect ourselves. And uh, and when you show up every day with the attitude of giving, with the attitude of teaching, of with love, people are going to feel that, and eventually one person at the time or a few people at the time are going to be are going to benefit from. It's hard to change the whole world at once. We do it one person at a time, and typically when you help one person, it's going to have a ripple effect on the rest of them. I think you're doing a great job, and with what you're doing, and it takes time to really get there. It's a life journey. So, but thank you for sharing. Let me share now what people typically do to find purpose that doesn't work. And think about the things that you have done from this list, because I know I've done many of them in the past. Take a personality test or career quizzes, but still feel unclear. I think those work sometimes, but the thing is that there is a deeper thing. There are deeper emotions, deeper healing, deeper stories and belief inside of us that even if we know or the test tell us what career we should do, or we won't act on them because there is still something within us that is stopping us and we need to figure out what it is. Look for purpose in a job title, promotion, or industry switch. That's another thing that people do. They feel that when they don't like a job, when they don't love what they do, changing jobs is going to make it better. They feel that they're going to get along with their bosses in their other job, or maybe they have a better culture or something, which sometimes it helps out because the environment it typically help you to feel better, but at the same time you're taking the same mindset. And something that I have learned in my past is that, or throughout these years, is that when you are in a tough environment or when you have a job that you don't like, is because we have to learn the lesson from that job. We cannot just quit and leave without learning the lesson. And that's not just for a job, it's also for relationships. We try to leave relationships, we try to leave to avoid conflict. And sometimes what we have to go is break through and confront those situations because those are the things that are going to help us be free. Also, they overthink, research, analyze, but never go inward. That's like what I was saying before. We read books, we go to conferences, we listen to podcasts, go on even retreats. But then when we come back to the real world, we don't apply the things that we learn, or we don't go enough within ourselves. Purpose isn't something you find by chasing it, it's something you uncover by understanding yourself. That is something that I live by. And that's why I want to tell you that you are in the right place at the right time. You are exactly where you need to be. You're not behind. You're not forward. You're exactly where you need to be. So where do we begin? With self-discovery. And I want to tell you a story just before we start with the three last points. There is a story that I like that represents everything that we have talked about today, and it's the story of this businessman who went on vacation, and then to the beach, and then he sees this fisherman. He sees the fisherman playing music, but he finished early. Every day he will just fish for a little bit, and then he will stop, and then he will go play his music in the beach. So the businessman go and talk to him, and he said, hey, do you know if you work a little bit harder, you're going to be able to get more fish, and then you're going to be able to sell them. You're going to be able to get a fleet of boats and export all these fishes, and then eventually sell your company and retire. And the fisherman says, and then what? Well, and then you can go to the beach and then fish for a little bit, play some music, and hang out with your friends. So the moral of the story is that, first of all, everyone has a different way of looking at success. The fisherman, he was already living his version of success. He didn't have to wait until to get there. He decided right there, right now, I'm just going to live the life that I want. I don't need the other stuff. And the business person, He decided to do all of these things to realize where that fulfillment really is. But at the same time, this business person probably created companies that help other people have jobs and generate income, and that was his purpose in life. So so no matter where we look at it, we have different ways of, we have our own opinion of success, our own purpose in life, and it's okay. Now, the the step number one that I want to share with you today, in order to live a purpose-driven life and transform your life eventually, is self-awareness. It's important to know yourself. It's important to know who you really are. It's important to know what brought you where you are right now. What were the decisions that you took in your life, and where those what were those decisions based on? What were the stories, or what are the stories that you're telling yourself right now about you or the world, that are stopping you from bec- becoming the person that you really want to become, or from achieving that thing that you want to achieve? It is important for you to begin uncovering those beliefs, those patterns, to know what your values are, to know what your fears are, and where that fear is coming from. Most people focus on a strategy. They focus on, if I want to accomplish this goal, if I want to have this life, this is what I have to do. And a strategy is basically this, is similar to a lot of people. If you want to build a company, they will tell you what step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is, right? But if a strategy was everything, then everyone will create amazing companies, or profitable companies. But there is something else that is stopping us from getting there, that goes beyond the strategy part. And that is the story. Those are the things, the beliefs that we tell ourselves. Those are the things that are in our mind, the thoughts that are in our mind, that then we ended up believing are completely true. Stories such as, I'm not good enough, or I didn't come from a rich family, or I'm an immigrant and therefore I won't be able to make it in the United States, or I didn't grow up with a mom or with a dad, or stories. And some stories are different than others. But at the end of the day, those are stories that we can always change, because those stories are in our minds. Those stories are beliefs that we carried all of our lives. And as a reflection question, I think this question is going to activate and change something in your life. If you're going to go have a takeaway today, maybe the next question is going to be one of them. Think about that thing that you want to accomplish in your life, that goal that you've been, or that dream that you want to make it happen. Think about, what is the number one belief about yourself that you need to change in order to accomplish that thing. What do you have to believe about yourself? And you can share that in the chat if you want as well, if you feel comfortable doing it. Because the thing is that beliefs shape your life. They shape your reality. When you believe that you can never get a good job, and you're completely certain about that, the next time you get a job, you either going to hate it, you're going to have a difficult boss, or something is going to happen. So you will confirm that your belief is true. Then you go to a different job, and then the same thing is going to happen. Or maybe in relationships, it's like that's a good example. It applies to all of us. You might think that not all men are bad or whatever. And then you meet a man, you date him, something happened in the relationship that you don't like, and because the universe wants you to confirm that belief. But if you change that belief, if you change that belief to a positive one, then the universe is going to give you the thing. So you is going to give you that experience in your life so you can confirm that your belief is true. So if you believe that you get amazing jobs, that is easy to find jobs, that is easy to accomplish your goals, then many things are going to flow in your life. Sandy says, I have to believe that I have value. And I'll ask Sandy, what is stopping you from believing that? Another belief might be stopping you from believing that. You can decide right now that you have value. It's a decision. Everything is a decision. That Diana says, I believe I lack the experience and skills to find my dream job in this difficult market. And that's exactly what I was saying, Diana. If you believe that, then every time you go to an interview, people are going to tell you that. The rejection is going to be you lack experience, and if because it's difficult, your mindset is going, your emotions are going to be negative, and when you go to an interview or when you're searching for that job, your mindset is already telling you, or the universe is already telling you, this is difficult, I'm not going to find anything. So I challenge you to change that belief, Diana. Change it to the positive and repeat it to yourself every day. And actually write it down in the chat. If you were to change that belief to the positive, what would it be? And let's start with that. Write it down. Change that belief that you have to a positive. Sandy says, my own fear of not being enough. I know the first step is to change my inner mantra that I am enough. Yes. I mean, then you already know. Therefore, just do it. Start saying it to yourself until you believe it. If a lie is repeated too many times, sometimes it becomes true. So why don't change that to saying what you want, or to telling yourself what you want to believe so many times until you believe is true. So keep saying to yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, you're enough. And Sandy also, when you said my own fear of not being enough, I will ask you, when did you decide that? When did you decide to believe that? Think about that. Okay. We can continue with this for many times, for a long time. Diana, I believe it just takes time and work to achieve my goal. You see, right there is also a limiting beliefs. Change it to something that is going to help you achieve it. Say something. I don't want to tell you exactly what to say, but if it were me, I'll be saying something like, I believe I'm going to find the right job and I'm going to achieve my goal when the time is correct. Make it more positive. Julian says he believes that failure is part of being successful. That is a good way of putting something that we consider negative into positive. So in many people think that failure is something bad, but at the end of the day, if you think that failing is part of being successful, then you never fail. It's just part of it. Like when someone rejects you, or when you get fired from your job, or when you have a hard time finding a job, that's just part of the journey of being successful. And that's a good way to put it. Thank you. Now write this question down. You don't have to answer it right away, but how think about how your life will look like and feel if you let go that belief. If you let go, if Sandy, if how your life would look like if you let go that belief of thinking that you're not enough, not being enough, and think about it, and embrace that feeling and that emotion, and visualize everything that you're experiencing when that emotion, when that belief goes away. Now let's go to step number 2. Inta says, when you identify when the negative belief started, what's next? Change it for something positive. Okay, Diana, when you said, I will not feel stressed and sad all the time, you're using negative words. So change that to positive words. Instead of using the word not, you'll think about it positive. Like, I will feel happy and energized all the time. And see how that feels in your body when you said it that way.
Can I share something?
Yes, please.
And it's actually I'm looking at Inta, her note, when you identify when the negative belief started, what's next? So and then so Daniel, this is just a thought. It's like a thought that I've been sort of playing with in my mind. And it'd be
Uh-huh.
great to get feedback from you guys, okay? Just came up with this the other day. So Inta, when you're thinking like when did the negative belief started, right? It could have been a long time ago. It could have been like memories that we have when we were children or things that happened to us, right? And I guess the example that I'm going to share is like a little bit of like when we were kids, because sometimes things start like when very early, right? And sometimes we hold memories of situations or things that we lived, right? So what I've been playing with, and it's just a thought, it'd be great to get your feedback, Daniel, is like a memory is a memory, right? And a memory generates a feeling. And a feeling sometimes is a feeling of pain or like a feeling of hurt. But it is a memory of something that happened. And at least from the childhood perspective, we know that sometimes certain memories, especially when we were children, are perspectives. They're perspectives of how we saw things when we were
Mm-hmm.
kids. And we know that when you think of perspectives, sometimes there's different perspectives to the same memory or the same situation, depending on who you talk to, on who actually was there or who lived at the situation. And sometimes a perspective might be different than the actual reality. So I've been playing with that thought, even for
Mm-hmm.
myself, to say, if I think of a certain situation that caused me hurt or pain when I was a child, right? And I think about, well, that was my perspective from whatever maturity level I had at that point in time, or the perspective of how I received things, and perhaps think that maybe, and this doesn't apply to everything, but that maybe the reality might have been a little bit different. The reality maybe for the other person, whether it was a family member or just the reality might have, of the real situation might have been a little bit different. And we're able to maybe separate the pain, right, from the memory and understand that the memory might have been a perspective, then maybe we're able to hone in a little bit of like separating from that pain of whatever that situation is. And
Mm-hmm.
those situations kind of feed like our beliefs, because we carry those memories and we carry those
Hmm.
feelings throughout our lifetime that we've had all our lives growing up, and those equate our beliefs. I don't know, just food for thought. I've been thinking about that, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna test that out to see what
Yeah.
feedback I can get. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think it helps because everything is a point of view. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I mean, the ultimate reality or everything that we experience in our lives is basically a point of view, is relative, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
Einstein talk about it. The theory of relativity is where we put our focus, our where focus goes, energy flows. And I think it works out changing the focus of that experience to something and give it a different meaning to the experience as well. And I think it works out for beliefs that they don't have a huge amount of emotional weight. Because the thing is that in neurolinguistic programming, which is something that I practice, when someone wants to go back to the root cause of something that happens in their life, like the beginning of when the trauma was created or the um, phobia was created, if you look at the event through your own eyes, like re-experience that traumatic experience, that experience is very traumatic and it's difficult to let go. Now, if you do the same thing that you're saying, but looking at it with dissociated from the event, like basically go acting as an observer and looking at the event that happened as like if you're watching a movie, then you will be able to understand not just what I mean, not just looking at it in a different perspective, but also getting the lessons from that specific thing that happened. Because the most important thing in our lives, I mean, we or something that I believe is that we came here to learn, and everything that happens in our lives is because those are because we needed to learn something from specific situations, especially traumatic ones. So I think that what you're sharing is very beneficial, and I do it as well by changing the focus, the meaning of the event. But if it's something super heavy, then we want to become observers from that event. Yeah.
Very. I hope that helps, Inta. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you,
Okay.
Regina. How are we doing with time?
We got about 10 minutes.
Okay. So let's. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Step number 2: presence and emotional regulation. And this is something that mm, I mean, it has been talk about from centuries, more than 5,000 years ago, which is the power of the mind. Your mind creates everything. Your mind is the reason that you suffer or you feel happy. Your mind was People say your mind was not designed to make you happy. It was designed to protect you. So therefore, we need to know more about our mind. We need to understand it. We need to educate it. Our mind is always thinking in the future, thinking in the past, and they call it the monkey mind because it's jumping from branch to branch, from one thought to another thought, from future things and creating anxiety because of things that hasn't happened, or going back in the past and creating sadness or depression for things that already happened and you cannot change. Therefore, it is important to create presence. It's important to bring our mind to the present moment, because the present moment is the only time that we have to create our current reality. The future doesn't exist, the past doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is right here, right now. And throughout my travels, I spent time in India, in Nepal with Buddhist monks, and India with yogis. And throughout my life, I or there's something that they have in common, even though they have different philosophies, but a practice that they all share is meditation. And meditation is the number one tool that can help you alleviate most of the problems that we experience in our lives. Not only mental problems, but also physical problems, because most of our sickness or physical sickness is associated to emotional problems. And as a matter of fact, the John Hopkins University, they studied or reviewed 18,000 studies and concluded that meditation decreases stress, depression, anxiety, and is even as effective as medicine. Therefore, it is important to create a routine. And just if you want to share how many of you already meditate, you can say in the chat or put a hand up or something. How many of you meditate? Regina meditates. Does anybody else meditates here? Not yet. Okay. Anita? Okay. Sophia meditates. Vivi meditates. Amazing. So from the yogi's perspective, from the ancient scriptures perspective, meditation, it will help you control your mind. And when you control your mind, when you calm your mind, your true self is revealed. The thing that you really are gets revealed. Your purpose gets revealed. Your the clarity, the direction that you need to take gets revealed. All the answers are within you, and that's what everybody says in the scriptures. Is that what I do here? Okay, is that everything is within you. You don't need anything outside of you in order to be happy, in order to be fulfilled, in order to have a joyful life. But the thing is that our mind is not educated, it's not helping us. And what happened is that most people identify themselves with the mind so much, so they think that their beliefs is what they are, their emotions is what they are. So when someone says I am angry, they're already identifying with being angry. So everything, when they're going to react to a specific circumstance or an event or something that happens out in their real life, they will react with anger because they are identifying themselves with that emotion. And when you start meditating, you start seeing that you're not that emotion. You start seeing your thoughts coming and going, and you can become the observer, which is what Regina we were just talking about. That you become an observer of that belief or that emotion of that event, and you start seeing it as in a different perspective in your life. So you can start changing everything about yourself. And meditation is not about having your mind blank, like not thinking about anything. That's not what it is. It's just sitting there, closing your eyes and focusing in your breath, focusing in a mantra or something positive that you tell yourself, like I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, and you just focusing on that affirmation that you're telling to yourself. And then when your mind starts thinking about something that you have to do tomorrow or something that you did in the past, then you come back to your breath, come back to the um, the affirmation that you have, and little by little you start educating your mind to be in the present moment. And then all those negative thoughts and all those negative beliefs, they could start leaving your mind. Another thing that meditation does is that when we're thinking all the time, they say that we have like 80,000 thoughts per day, and many of those thoughts are negative, and many of those thoughts are like 80% of those thoughts are the same than the day before. So imagine this: if we're always thinking and we're thinking the same thoughts that the day before, we're living in the past, and we will be creating the future same as our past. Therefore, we need to be aware, completely aware of what we are thinking, and meditation help us. So now I'm going, and also meditation help you with your emotional regulation. When you have a a, med, a meditation practice, it does help you become more calm, more relaxed. To not, it allows you to respond to things that happen in your life instead of reacting. And if you start doing it, I guarantee you, this is one of the things that I guarantee you, because it's been written for 5,000 years that it will improve your life. That will be another takeaway of today. So why don't we do that? Why don't we take a couple of minutes to meditate? We're almost done with the presentation, but I really want you to use these next couple of minutes to practice a little meditation. So why don't you take it? I mean, whoever is sit up straight, everyone, and close your eyes and start taking a deep breath through your nose. Make sure your back is straight, that you feel comfortable. And take a deep breath through your nose, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. Focus on that breathing. Inhale through your nose. Visualize the air going all the way to your belly. You hold the breath in your belly for a couple of seconds and then you exhale through your nose. Keep going, inhaling and exhaling. And when your thoughts start appearing in front of you, just focus on that breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting go of the things that happen during the day. Inhaling positive energy and exhaling negative energy. Inhaling and exhaling. And with each breath, you feel more and more relaxed, more calm, being aware of your feet touching the ground, being aware of your knees, your arms, the space between the chair and your body. Your shoulders are relaxed. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. And little by little, you start coming back to the room, moving the fingers in your hands, your feet. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Awesome. How did you guys feel? Who wants to share? How do you feel now after the meditation? You feel more relaxed, more calm? Were you able to focus or your mind was everywhere? who's meditating for the first time?
Oh, look, Diana, you said you're more relaxed.
Diana, that's amazing.
Yeah, just taking deep breaths.
Yeah, that's awesome. And especially since you were sharing earlier that the hustle, what was it? The hustle mentality, and what you're going through. If you're able to do this every day for maybe a couple of minutes, it doesn't take long. Even starting with 2 minutes is a good start. That's awesome. Sandy loved it. Sophia, oh, I think that was a comment from before. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. Amazing. All right. Well, this is something, meditation is something that I really encourage you all to start doing, start practicing, because it definitely will change everything about your life. It will, it will do it. And let me see here. Now, if you want something quick as well to change your emotional state, you can use a couple of things in based on neuro-linguistic programming. So basically, neuro-linguistic programming or programming or NLP blah, blah, is 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 something that you can use. Um, uh, is the science that where you use your body and your language to reprogram your mind. So basically, everything is connected to your mind. So if you think about this, when you feel tired, when you feel sad, typically your body is down. Your or when you think about someone that is depressed, like if you picture someone being shy or depressed or insecure, you're going to see someone that is hunching or someone that doesn't look at other people in their eyes, someone that um is just it looks sad, so when you think about that, and if you think about someone that looks confident, you notice that typically their shoulders are back, and he's looking up and he's looking at people in their eyes, and their tonality change, and they just everything their posture change. So whenever you're feeling insecure or you don't feel confident about something, you can just change your body. You can change your posture and act like if you were feeling if you were that confident person. You can think about like a superhero, how like Superman stands, or Wonder Woman, how she stands. She stands with her arms in her en la cintura. ¿Cómo se dice?
In the waist, the
In
waist.
the waist. Thank you, thank you. I'm running out of English words already. So you could do that. Another thing that you could do in order to change your emotional state is by something called a triad, which is the focus, meaning, and action. So when something happens in your life, typically people focus on the negatives. So let's say that I lost my job. Am I going to focus on losing my job, or what am I focusing on? I'm going to focus in the new opportunity. Or I'm going to focus in the time that I'm going to have to spend with my family. Like what is my focus? If it's negative, I'm going to feel bad. If it's positive, it's going to feel good. Remember that where focus goes, energy flows. So think about that focus, and then give it the right meaning. Okay, I lost my job. Now, what is the meaning? Oh, I feel bad. I'm not good enough. Like I was not the right person for this job, and now it's going to be hard to find another one. But if you look at this as an opportunity, like the way that happened to me, I lost my job, and then I looked at it as an opportunity to work on myself, to explore different things, and I looked at it in a positive way. My emotion always also changed. And then the third one is action. What am I going to do? What am I going to do about it? Because typically People complain, but they don't take action. So if you put action in that equation, then you will also feel great. Now we go to the third one. The step number 3 is leading with purpose. And as I was mentioning earlier today, leading means, or leadership starts with every one of us. I know that many of us want to help other people and make sure that, and we want to make a difference in the world, and we want to serve, and we want to have a bigger impact in other people's lives. But at the same time, we have to start with ourselves. We have to start by assuming responsibility for our lives, to make the right decisions in our lives, to work on ourselves, to heal ourselves. And that's what a true leader does. They start working on themselves, because they know, the more they know themselves, the more they're going to understand other people and be compassionate to other people. Because think about this, when you heal something, when you go through something difficult in your life, then it's going to be easier for you to relate with those people that are going through the same things, to similar things. In my case, for example, I was fired 2 times from my job, and I was in depression for years, and then I suffered from anxiety and other things. Therefore, when someone comes to my life and I'm able to help them, I have the experience because I took the courage to go through it. So that's one message, is that the leadership starts with you. By taking courageous action, and then finding that purpose, finding that thing, serving through your gifts, turning everything, or turning work into a contribution, not a performance. And this is something that I want to mention too, because after all of these years, and when I was feeling unhappy in my job, and I decided to leave that job and then going to the other one, getting fired, then the other one and getting fired, definitely there was a common denominator between everything. It wasn't the jobs were different. It was me who was having the issues. And after years of working on myself, I realized that the job is not the destination. It is a tool for us to serve and to accomplish that our higher purpose. Basically, the job that we have, if it's not something that we're really passionate about, it becomes the tool that is going to either finance our through purpose, which is something that I've been doing for the past year. Is that I have my job as a CPA, I'm an accountant, but at the same time, my passion and my purpose is being a transformational coach and helping people through their journeys. But but my job gives me the finances, gives me the opportunities to invest in my business. And when I was able to give it that meaning, then everything started working in flow. So our duty is to do what we must do. We need to perform our duty in our jobs, in our lives, and that's what leadership is. Aligning to our current role or job with a higher purpose, using it as a tool to serve and grow. And these 3 questions are going to help you be closer to what purpose is. These questions come from a book called Ikigai that many coaches use to help people to gain clarity. And you can write them down. You can share the answers if you want. But when you answer these questions, the intersection between these 3 questions will be your ikigai, will be your reason for being. Actually, there is one question there. There is one question missing, which is, how can I get paid from doing this? So basically, is what do you love doing? What are you good at? Basically, what are your gifts and talents? And what is a problem in the world that you really care about, that you want to help? And then the last one is, how can I get paid for that? The 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 intersection of all these four questions is going to help you be closer to your purpose. And I'll write down the book here in the chat so you can research it. And it's definitely going to make a difference in the way that you see work, life, and give you more clarity. So, in summary, the three inner shifts to purpose driven success are self awareness, understand who you are beyond performance. Number two, presence and emotional regulation, create the inner space for clarity. Number three, leading with purpose, align your actions with your deeper why. Why? And my final invitation for today is to ask yourself about that belief. What is that belief that you're done caring? What is that belief that after today you're gonna let go finally? What truth about yourself you're ready to reclaim? Because is your birthright to be happy, is your birthright to be abundant, is your birthright to be loved. All of these things, when we were born with this right, but we forgot about it. We need to reclaim that thing. We need to reclaim those rights. Ask yourself, what does purpose-driven success means for you today? And with everything that we talk about, you can create your own version of success. And if you're ready to go deeper, you can see my social media, my website, and let's walk this path together. Thank you for everything, and blessings.
Awesome.
Namaste for everybody.